Hi everybody, this is Kim and
Tormod.
back again. We did a previous video talking about mental health where I did kind of a little interview with Tormod. We discussed a bit, and for this video, Tormod is going to ask me some questions about my experience. Both Tormod and I are walking the Desteni process. Tormod is walking with schizophrenia, whereas I'm walking with OCD. Yeah, so Tormod, what would you like to ask me?
Yeah. Well, uh, how did you um, manage to find Destiny and this Destiny process? And tell us a little bit about your background from that and how you found Destiny and the tools.
Okay, so I had OCD from a very young age, and I think that led me to look for answers and reasons throughout life because I was not diagnosed until way later on. And so when you have like a mental health issue, you know that there's some things just not right and things are very difficult. And especially from a young age, it's hard to communicate that. And then it just kind of integrates into your life and living as normal, even though it's not, it never really feels normal or comfortable. So I always had that knowing that something was up and something was wrong. And then just with regular life stuff, I was online searching for answers and doing lots of research and exploration, and I happened upon Destiny. And when I did, that was the first real information that struck home with me, especially with OCD, because Destiny focuses a lot on the mind. And I was able to relate my experience with OCD very much with having kind of this mind, this system that was disrupting my living. So to me, it was quite obvious. And um, when I started then actually applying the tools that I was learning from Destiny online, I wasn't even applying them towards the OCD. I was just working through all the layers that I had built up on top of that um, normal life stresses and guilts and feelings and emotions and all sorts of self-limiting behaviors that I had been living out. And so that's how I discovered Destiny, and I started actually applying it to my OCD only years after I had been walking my process.
Okay, that is quite a process to realize there. Um, how would you say that the tools provided by this NI process were assisting you? What effect did it have, and what did you gain from it? Sort of, what could we learn from it?
Yeah. So I started using the tools to work through lots of guilt that I had had, bad habits, and to really get serious about supporting myself. It's something I saw that I needed, but I just didn't know how. I had tried many things, and this was the first one that was actually working, especially because I was through using the tools became learned how to motivate myself to sort myself out and sort my living situation out. So what I did was through using the tools, I basically unburied myself from this whole pile of layers of behaviors and patterns that I'd been living, and I eventually got to a point where I hit the OCD. It was like facing it head on. I couldn't
Yep.
work on anything else without finally being like, okay, I have to confront this and I have to take this on. And so I started focusing the self forgiveness on the OCD behavior. And that's something that, what was interesting that I found through the process is that um, from my experience with the mental disorders, I had identified with it. And I had actually used it as such a huge crutch in my life for, just a crazy internal environment that was almost tormenting for me. And the OCD was like my one key to feel peace and to feel okay. And that's why it was difficult for me to confront it and to be like, okay, I'm going to actually now take the steps to heal myself or walk through OCD and out of it so that I can actually not have to have that crutch and be able to support myself to change behaviors from, um, you know, destructive behavior and coping mechanism to actual beneficial constructive behaviors.
Okay. Yeah. Um, so how did the OCD play out in your, what shall I say, early years, and what are you looking at now as a change, as altering, as improving, you might say?
Yeah, in my early years, it was, it became all consuming at a certain point, where it was like, your life becomes kind of small and uh, there's no expansion because you're in this mental health disorder that's just diminishing you and diminishing you. And so that's where I was at, where my world had become kind of crushed by OCD, and I was miserable. It was affecting my relationship, my job, my ability to function as a normal human being, which means it affected my salary. So my whole life was compromised by this disorder, and nothing was working. And this is at a point when you're a child and you have your parents to support you. It's like you have that kind of layer of support, but then when you're out on your own, there's you lose that, and you are all you have. And I was not somebody that I could depend on. And so as I started applying the tools and walking the process and actually changing through first forgiving everything that I had been doing, when I forgave it, I was able to let it go and start to actually be okay with letting go of OCD. And at the same time as letting it go, I was also creating myself as something new, something supportive. And um, so, what happened in my life was I started becoming a better partner in my relationships and friendships, more communication with my family. I became a better employee in terms of taking on more responsibilities and being able to handle more and more stress, more and more um, abilities, like the learning. I was able to do that more because it's like as I was letting go of the OCD, the space was opening up in me where I could start to function more, and I was becoming more normal. And that's something I never really saw myself as. So, um, just being more functional all around in all spheres of my life also showed me that I can change. And it gave me this spark of, I'll call it hope, even though it's not like it wasn't an empty or blind hope. It was a hope because I had proven to myself what I can do. And so I saw that if I just continued to apply this and continued to develop my discipline and my consistency and my ability to breathe through situations that would normally overwhelm and stress me out. If I continue to do this, then it predictably leads to expansion and growth and more of the same, which is more change. So, I'm still walking, definitely still have my obstacles and hurdles, but that's the direction I'm heading in, and it's like the outlook is good for me.
Thank you very much for sharing that. That is
My pleasure.
really an awesome tale there. Yeah, thanks.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I guess I could ask, um, what would you say to people that are out there searching for having OCD and being uh, sort of on a search or wanting to find something to assist them? What could you would you suggest for them to walk a process of self-forgiveness? Would that be something to suggest?
That's a really good question. I think that everybody is at their own location with their mental health disorder, and that I would suggest to try everything and to test out everything. I tested out many things, and this is what works for me.
Yeah.
And I think that you don't have to just choose one thing.
Exactly.
So you can do. I think that the Desteni process would benefit everybody, but maybe it's not for everybody, or you can really make it your own, make your own version of it. But for me, I see it working in a complementary fashion with other support that's already existent out there, because it's something unique. It's something that I have never seen before, and it's something that tackles issues that I find there's loopholes in the mental health services that are available in terms of really making it about yourself as the solution and working with your own mind, and basically making it about yourself and not about treatment out there somewhere. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this process to everybody who's facing OCD. And I do a lot of videos and blogs about my experience with it. So if anybody wants to understand more about how you can individualize your process to have it be the most supportive for yourself, then I'll share my links to my blogs and videos. And actually, I made a website as well with lots of information.
Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thanks.
And thank you everybody for watching. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.